in a little cottage in the middle of nowhere,
Down south.
down south,
At
south
an
well east.
undisclosed location.
Southeast.
Is it possible to explain?
There's no big town anywhere from.
There is a really easy way because I saw there was some ladies got social media famous yesterday because they're in the American Air Force and they got their next where they're going next and they got Mildenhall, which is an airbase, a US airbase, which is like about 10 miles away that way. And there were these girls were coming from Arizona and they were like, "Oh my God, we're going to Suffolk!" And I was thinking, no one has ever done that before, ever. Fucking hell! I hope you like old people.
What's your closest proper city, John?
City, Norwich or London, but it's close.
Right.
How close are you to London, like to drive there?
An hour, probably about hour 10.
So you like how many people live in your area? Would you say?
In the village, I live in. Well, it's a village. It's probably about 3,000 or something like that.
So you're like more rural even than I am.
Yeah, but it's not.
I mean,
quite
you're You're closer to a big city than I am.
Yeah, we don't go, but yeah, it's You're really rural, man. I mean, the views outside your house are unbelievable.
But in this county, like I live in one town and it's connected to a couple other towns. In total, there's 100,000 people.
Right, they can hear us. We better roll the.
Oh,
the
okay,
intro.
right.
Go, they can't hear us.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, like to get to like.
He's gonna do this part of the show.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Hello, welcome to the new Ohm Show, Chapter 40. Special guest Matt Colley from Suck My Mod or SMM, sorry.
Hello.
Matt's with us, and John is with us as well. Sorry, we went off on a tangent talking about where we live.
All the way from Montana.
But yes, so we will be talking to Matt. We'll be doing the news. I will be showing some new stuff, and then we'll let your questions loose on Matt at the end, I guess.
They will be edited.
They definitely will be edited.
They're not happening.
I'll answer most things.
I know. Yeah, well, we'll see.
Yeah, it's for our sake.
Yeah.
So that is the plan. Should be good. What time is it there, Matt? What time is it where you are?
It's 2:01 p.m.
Okay, cool. Right. So, John, what are you vaping on? What are you drinking?
I've changed up what I'm vaping on. I've got Cactus Punch in here, and I've got the Nick Salt version of Cactus Punch. And that's very nice. I went with the original. I'm still not off Can Only Be Graham. I've got Can Only Be Graham in the custom billet box with the EVL alien inside. As we now know, there is an EVL alien for the... It's not called that. It's called the... What's it called? It's for the dot mod.
Yes, they're doing an alien for the dot, aren't they?
Yeah, it's like an alien that fits inside the dot. It's wicked. And anyway, in that, I've got Cannoli B. Graham from Matt and my friend John Nathan is in here. Me and Matt both know John is a very reasonable human being.
I love John. I love fighting with John.
I like that. Yeah, he's a very reasonable guy, but very funny. When he was telling me about the joke I made the other day on your thread, he was talking about his love for Indian food, and he said, "I'm getting really good at making it. I'm probably the best person I know at making Indian food." He said, "Oh, cool. What's your number one Indian dish?" And he said, "Chicken tikka masala." And I said, "Invented in Glasgow. That's not from India, but well done." Anyway,
it's a curry.
It is, but it's not Indian.
Was he good?
No, he was fine with it because
it does take the shine off when you find out, though.
Well, both John Nathan and Matt have been over to the UK, and our difference when we get when we do cuisines from around the world, Britain does very well because they're made by first generation migrants. So if you want Italian food, you're going to get it made by an Italian. how are you going to get Indian food? They'll be
Yeah.
from Bangladesh or something like that. And not Indian.
I mean,
but
your
they're-
traditional food's just okay, but your ethnic food.
Yeah. Our traditional food is
I don't even care though. That's
not
the thing.
not world renowned.
I'm not bothered when people say that. I'm like, I don't really care because it doesn't matter. Because there's a Chinese family who live in the village and they own a Chinese, and there's an Indian family who live in the village and they own an Indian. So
Yeah,
don't
I
really
would
care.
love that.
It's wicked. I'm drinking on Brewdog Nanny State because I'm not having any alcohol today, so it's 0% alcohol. It's all right, actually. It's actually one of the better ones I've had. It's a bit dark. Look at that.
It's very dark, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be a hoppy beer. It's quite hoppy for having no alcohol in it. Someone's telling me to turn my volume up. I can't. This is that thing again. I can't turn my volume up. Is it low?
It does seem slightly quieter than normal.
Oh, I'll have a fiddle after this. Matt, what are you vaping today, and what are you drinking?
I am
It can be
vaping on
squash.
the Caliburn G.
Oh, is that the one with a
It's the
board?
new one.
Oh yeah, I saw your thing the other day.
It's really good because you can tighten. It's got 2 airflow settings, and the tighter airflow is really freaking good. And what do I have in this? I don't have my liquid on the table. It's a 5 Ponds. What are they called? Orchard something or other. It's their mango passion, 12 milligram free-based nicotine. That's what I like in a pod system like this. And as far as drinks go, I wanted to bring a little America to the show and
Diet
bring
Coke.
some Diet Coke.
Bit of Diet Coke.
Classic.
I'm going to be drinking scotch tonight for the debates, but it's a little too early for me.
Yeah,
You
you
don't want to start now. Yeah.
I'm going to need it. I told Vanessa that. Like, we're watching the debate, but we're not doing it sober.
I can't even imagine.
Oh, they're
I
muting
can't-
the mics this time, aren't they?
Yeah, I know. It's going to be off the charts.
It won't stop him.
They're going to mute the mics, but then they're going to let them both, like, go at it after each give their own answer. So it's going to be a shit show.
Yeah.
It just sounds like a man. I just think he's.
I like watching the highlights.
I think Trump's going to lose his mind if his mic gets muted. If he is about to do one, oh fuck, it's mad.
He's not a huge fan of censoring, is he?
No, the last one was so awful.
It was
so
bad.
bad. It didn't matter. Nobody came out well out of that. It was just
It was
bad.
fucking embarrassing.
Yes. So
Yeah.
all good. All good.
Richard,
Oh yeah.
what are you vaping on? What are you drinking on?
Yes. Okay. I've got a few things. I've only just started on this. What's it called? It's called the Fours TX80 from Vapresso. Yeah, literally, I only just opened this up today. I'm a bit disappointed. They've kind of copied the Aegis,
Yeah, it really is a copy, isn't it?
like the leather back and the durable rubbery side, and then
It is nice. I like
metal front.
It's like the Aegis. I like the chip in that better than the Aegis, though, because it's got that Gen chip
Yeah,
that the Gen mod has.
yeah. It's really solid. It's really good, but it just takes some of the.
They could have done a little different design.
Just tweak it a bit. But it as always, it works great. That I've got this bizarre tank. Have you got one of these, Matt? The Scale mouth to lung RTA from AI Vape.
Nope, I haven't seen that one.
It's really they've tried different stuff, which is quite refreshing. They've got little tabs for airflow, and there's 2, so they're independent of each other. So you just click this round to adjust.
Interesting.
Yeah, so you're not messing around with spinning, and it means you can close one, open one. Also, they've got an insert in the drip tip. Oops, sorry. So you can actually push that out and make it wider. That's pretty clever. And then what I think is really unique is it's just on O-rings.
Wow.
It just literally just pulled off.
Yeah, which you just don't see these days. And probably for good reasons you don't see it.
Yeah.
Well, if you drop it, it can fall apart and stuff, but it's definitely handy.
I don't like the look of it, but I've got to say it's a genuine mouth to lung tank.
Assume it comes in other colours.
Yes. Don't worry. So that's a funny one. And then still using the Fallout Vape Ultrona thing, the Gaia. Dual 21700, and lastly the Oh, what's this one called as well? This is the Vupu Argus. Argus. This is the only one that's not built with a built-in pod thing. So using those juices can only be Graham.
Good. You need more of that. I'll sort that out.
And strawberry jam.
Strawberry jam flavour.
And drinking Brewdog.
What Brewdogs is that? Is that the Lost Lager?
It's the Nanny State.
Oh, you did it as well.
I'm not drinking. I'm sitting here drinking on my own.
Oh, I'm just trying to watch the anything. It's so ridiculous. I'm just trying to watch my weight a little bit at the moment.
No, I think it's good.
Lockdown's just got stupid. I've already lost I've lost at least like half a chin in the last 3 weeks. But did you find being trapped at home, Matt? You just fucking. Oh yeah, no, you actually did post up about it. It's really.
Oh yeah,
easy
I've
to
gained
fucking...
a ton of weight. I'm on like a diet program right now, but
it's hard.
yeah,
It's hard.
I mean,
isn't it?
Food is like one of those pleasures in life. And when you're stuck at home more, you tend to eat more.
Yeah,
I did that, and then I found because I couldn't go to the so there were times when I just thought it's not morally correct to go to the shop. So I thought, look, I don't need beer. I don't need to go to the shop. That's ridiculous. So I'd be at home. And then I was introduced to online ordering beer. And then I was like, find a microbrewery. Yes, I'll have 18 if that's what you want me to do. And then
basically get anything delivered now. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're just in a bad place. Just going, I'll eat that. I'll eat one of them. I had a lot of problems getting food delivered. Like, it didn't matter everything was out. Like, I did try and order brownies, but they never had any. So I could be the size of a fucking mountain by now.
What is your COVID situation, Matt? Is it grim where you are, or because you're so rural? Is it?
Montana's actually in one of the it's one, like they have a map, and like each state is different colors depending on like the trends, and it's in the red right now. It's not doing great. Like we had like I think almost 1,000 cases in Montana over the last day.
Wow.
And Montana has a population of 1 million people. So
wow, that's
wow. Is there like restrictions, like is the cinema shut and things like that?
Not really anymore. Like it's, people have to wear masks when they go into businesses and stuff, although you have the rebels that just, call their bluff. And then they're talking about doing restrictions again because of this, and like not completely shutting down stuff like restaurants, but like, lowering it to 25% capacity or whatever, but they haven't done it yet. I don't know if there's the political will there because, Montana's definitely like a very libertarian type of state. And so they don't like to be told what to do.
I love that. It's been like that word has been every single word in politics has been bastardized to hell this year. Things that you knew what it meant, they don't mean that anymore. Like that's just madness to call it.
Well, I mean, it's just that's like American libertarian.
Yeah. It just means
which is basically right libertarian because it's like, there's libertarians on the spectrum that go left as well.
But it's like you say, it's as simple as American people aren't used to being told exactly what to do and when to do it, and it's a natural, pushback against that, isn't it?
Yeah, we're doing pretty well with our pushback against it. Pretty much dipshits. I know, obviously, with them.
They're probably the two most similar places. Sort of the British mentality, attitude towards things, probably. And the American attitude, and that's probably why we're both struggling a bit. I think. Like in places like China, they're incredibly compliant, aren't they? They're used to being told what to do.
Yeah, well, and obviously, in the cities and stuff here, you're going to find less people with that mentality. They're kind of used to all having to play in the same sandbox, in a big city where everyone lives closer to each other. But with like a more rural area, where there's freedom and guns and all that shit, like they're definitely not used to being told you know what they can.
I do like freedom and guns. That is amazing. I'm gonna get myself some freedom. I'm gonna shoot it, drag it home. Okay, that sounds good. How's Vanessa doing? Because obviously,
she
Vanessa
works in
as a nurse.
Yeah.
She's good. At her there's 2 hospitals here, and the other hospital is where the big COVID unit is, and she
Right.
works in the SCU, which is like the special care unit, and
Okay.
she does not take the COVID patients right now, but it's the unit in the other hospital is basically full, so there's starting to be some overflow. So it wouldn't shock me if she starts getting some of them soon.
I assume she just is avoiding social media like hell at the moment because there's so much disinformation that it becomes. My wife working in healthcare too. She just avoids it because she just can't be bothered. She
doesn't get worked up about that stuff. She just like fuck them. She just does her job.
Yeah, she just won't do it. Like I'll tell her something. Like if there's something that's part of the news or something, I'll say, "Oh, someone said this," and then she'll be fucking go mad about it.
I was going to say that's COVID out of the way, but it's the news now, so.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's okay.
There's probably a touch of COVID in the news.
There's a touch of COVID, but it's not that bad. Okay, let's get over to the news. The first news is just a quick story from something. It's from Filter Magazine, which is it's just an online magazine, and I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to read it because I've already read it. So, Filter Magazine are reporting on the fact that I will have to get a date from it. That vaping, having been banned in India, it was banned in 2019 in September. Having been banned in India, what's happening to India when it comes to smoking rates? And what's happening to India in regards to smoking rates is smoking rates have stayed relatively stable, so no more people have quit, but that has caused their average amount of their amount of smokers to now look relatively insane. So as
it was this time last year, wasn't it?
Yes. So a little bit earlier, September,
right.
The ban went in. It's based on nothing. There was
tax.
No push.
Didn't they literally say it was tax?
Yeah, well, they used America actually as the jump-off point. The lung injury bullshit, vitamin E acetate. The finance minister ran that up the flagpole, and they voted on it, and they voted to ban vaping entirely. So it's illegal to import, export, buy, have. Possess is all legal. I think the fine is about $1,100 if you were to be caught with vaping stuff. And this has caused their smoking rates to stabilise and rise slightly.
So theirs looks like this, and the rest of the world's slightly down.
Well, not slightly down. I mean, the amount of smokers in the UK and the US. The UK is doing better than the US, but just because of the vaping things, I suppose, and other reasons. But there's a massive decline. We've now stabilised on a low number, still not great. And it seems to be that the misinformation from the US last September has caused our smoking rates to stall as well.
Yeah, I think like in the US, there's still a downward trajectory, and it's probably the same way with you guys, but it's slowed compared to what it was a few years ago.
Yeah, ours is slowed.
They're kind of I don't think I picked up the story, but there is an idea to force. Oh yeah, okay, there is. That's all right. I had to pick it up. Anyway, I'll get to that. India was, I think it's quite an incredible thing to see, and they're hoping now to get the government to look at it, look at what's happening, where they had a declining smoking rate and now it's totally stalled. And their rates of lung cancer have stabilised. They were declining and now they've stabilised.
Presumably they'll look at it and go, good. Good, it worked.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much tax. It's same as, well, there's lots of countries where it's banned, but there's no prosecution. So it's banned in Thailand and they do prosecute, but it's banned in Cambodia. They don't care. And it's banned in Thailand, in Vietnam. They don't care.
It was banned in like the Philippines for a while too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like they just drove overturned, which is crazy because the Philippines, even when the ban happened, they're like my top second or third top viewed country. I mean, there's so many vapors there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Malaysia's huge and close to the Philippines.
Yeah, that was this. It was a second with Saver tank. It was the second most imported place after England.
Wow.
It's huge over there for whatever reason. It's you know they didn't have, and they didn't even have a clue who I was or anything like that. They just, if there's something new, they want 2,000 of them. That's just.
Well, once it's up and going, the thing is with vaping, once it's up and going, the outlay is fuck all. Isn't it? You can just keep doing it, especially if all you need is wire and cotton. You're done.
Yeah.
It's such a cheap thing to do. It's cheaper than smoking.
I guess there was perhaps in a place like that where it was already really taken up. I guess there was just natural pushback, and it was ignored. I guess.
It's a difficult, isn't it? It's a real fucking shows how weird world we live in, where the Philippines has got a dictator in charge who is fucking crazy, and yet you can vape. It's a really weird thing. I mean, if you're a drug dealer, they will kill you, your family, your family's friends, every fucker. You're dead. But vaping, it's illegal. It's not illegal. Oh, a bit of fun. Yeah.
I think they tried throwing a few people in prison in the Philippines at first, but then it was almost like they threw up their hands, like cats out of the bag. And, that's a good argument for why you don't ban a lot of things. Obviously, I know cigarettes are horrible, but I don't necessarily agree with the cigarette ban because then you're going to have a black market problem. So
my issue is this: the incremental change of cigarette prices is they need to stop saying it's to stop people smoking. When they do it in the UK and it's visited by the budget, they say it's going up 50 pence a packet because we want more people to quit. That's clearly not true.
Yeah.
You're clearly trying to make more revenue. Just be honest and say, you're going to fucking die. We need to pay for it.
The cigarette taxes haven't been a big deterrent. It's just disproportionately affected poor folks.
Yeah, it's absolute bollocks.
Yeah,
so just get on with it. Because I always, whenever they put it up, I always think either ban it or be fucking honest, because this is ridiculous. We have a thing in the UK where obviously our taxes pay for the NHS, and there's a misconception with people who don't smoke and have never smoked that they're saving the NHS millions of pounds, which is absolutely not true. Because in a lifetime, if you've been a smoker from the age of 16, if you're my age, until the age of 70, and then you went into hospital, you're likely to die before they used up the tax money that it cost that you pay.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's a bollocks, but that's always made me laugh when someone says, "Oh, they use up tax money." And you think, no, they're not. They can't. They'll be dead before they've used it.
They'll have more than paid for their own bed.
Yeah, they're paying for yours and theirs. It's why it's really annoying when people go out and buy cheap shit, no tax, terrible food, because that's literally a free bed. If you get an obesity-related illness from doing that, you think, oh, you don't even get to get tax the shit out of you. It's not even worth it. That is a dead loss.
Next story.
Next story is from The Guardian. This is just a questions thing. They did a question thing on COVID. Yeah, you're right. The other day, it's called Vaccines, Vaping, and the North-South Divide. Your COVID questions answered. I'm not going to go through any of the COVID questions, apart from the vaping question, which was asked. I've just got to get it. Here we go. In the street, I often have to walk through vape clouds. Can the clouds contain coronavirus? That's from Phil Viner, a writer from Brighton. Professor Caitlin Notley of Norwich Medical School at the University of East Anglia told The Guardian it was certainly possible. Someone infected with coronavirus clearly would be emitting viral particles in their vape if they were vaping, just the same as they would if they were breathing out or singing. It's quite true. She said the thing is with vaping, it makes the breath visible. And so when you are outside, you can see a huge cloud of vapor floating your way in the wind. Notley said this underlined the need to wear masks and for people who vape to be considerate of others. But she said there was no evidence to say whether vape clouds were more of a problem when it came to passing on an infection than normal exhalations. It's not a good idea for anyone to be exhaling big clouds of vape or singing loudly in crowded areas and sharing their exhaled breath with other people. She said, of course, We would not want to discourage people from vaping if they have successfully managed to quit smoking. I thought it was the most balanced answer I've heard on vaping in
Yeah,
ages.
it's very rare we would hear anything like that in the States.
Just saying, don't sing, don't sneeze, don't cough, and don't blow out massive
That's
crowds.
pretty much exactly what I would say.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like exhaled breath. I mean, there's definitely a chance that you would think that some of the virus could be in that vapor. You don't know.
Yeah. We're not doing. I don't know what the US vape shops are doing, but like everything's off the count. There's nothing. You don't vape in the shop because you've got to wear a mask anyway. There's no samples of anything. There's no mods for testing. Nothing can be touched, basically. So they stay 2 meters away from me in my shop, and I'll talk to them with a mask on. They've got a mask on. Have a mask sign on the window, and then we try and get around it. The difficulty is, I've said this on the show, is trying to teach someone how to vape when they can't touch it.
Yeah, it's tough.
Question
for you on that article. It said the north-south divide. What is that divide over there?
Okay, let's go for the north-south divide.
There's more cases in the north currently.
That's the problem. Here we go. What does the science say about the possible reasons for a north-south divide in infection rates? There are probably several factors at work. The first is population density. COVID-19 is a highly contagious disease, and it spreads best in densely populated areas such as large cities, where people have a higher probability of coming into contact with others, including those from other areas. That is likely why London bore the brunt of the first wave. But anyway, once lockdowns relaxed, the seeds of infection quickly spread in densely populated northern areas. In fact, infections are now taking off in London again, but they took off in some huge cities for us in the north, Matt. So actually, they're even compared to cities in the US, because London's huge worldwide, doesn't matter. Leeds, Manchester, Liverpool, Newcastle, huge cities. Densely populated is a relative term. I've seen this bandied around, especially with Americans who've never been here. People saying, "Oh, the problem you've got in the UK is because it's densely populated." And no, not in the way you think. And they'll say, "Yep, it's because you're all got so many people." And you think aerial pictures of the UK are green. We have a lot of green going on.
Yeah.
There is
I mean, you see that when you take the train there, and I guess I would have always thought it was more densely populated than it looks, just because what do you guys have, 80 million? 68 million, and it's a pretty small island, but it just shows how many people can fit in a place.
Yes, exactly it.
Yeah
They're literally up in it's just it
is densely populated in the basic mathematical sense.
Absolutely.
Land mass versus people.
It was when we kept getting compared to one of the countries that Britain kept getting compared to in the first wave was Sweden. Sweden, they said, a lot of people said, it's going really well for Sweden. You went, well, not. You're counting people, but if you go per 100,000, it's not going very well at all. Also, Sweden has a large landmass than we do, and 1/6 of the population. They're not comparable. It's ridiculous. That kept coming up a fucking lot. We're quite easily comparable to someone like France. That's not bad. France, Spain, Germany. Well, they have densely populated urban areas and lots of countryside, which is what we've all got. One more. Keep on doing the news. One last thing. Oh, from the Vaping Post. This is from the Vaping Post. A review looking into the effect of vaping on cardiopulmonary health leads to inaccurate conclusions. This is a review published in the Journal of Physiology. Looked into human animal studies that have been published to date, which I think is really quite handy. It's called The Effects of E-Cigarettes and Vaping Devices on Cardiac and Pulmonary Physiology. They really want to try and trip me up today. The review reported that acute exposure to e-cigarette aerosols seemed to lead to increased blood pressure and the heart rate in human subjects. In animal models, the same exposure led to increased arterial stiffness, vascular endothelal changes, and increased basically a bad heart. Anyway, these findings led the review authors to make an erroneous claim. There is no evidence that e-cigarettes are actually safer than their combustible counterparts. E-cigarettes have been advertised as a healthy alternative to smoking, and the users are under the impression that vaping cigarettes is harmless. Anyway, here was the segment. The results indicated that whether the e-cigarette used contained nicotine or not, the endothelial function in those who switched from smoking was significantly improved. Of course, this statement could not be further from the truth. In fact, there is a lot of scientific evidence to the contrary. In 2019, a study by researchers from the British Dundee University found that chronic smokers who rapidly switched from smoking to vaping saw a significant improvement in the markers of their heart health after just 1 month. By switching to e-cigarettes from cigarettes, we found the average percentage point improvement of 1.5 within just 1 month. I thought it was really great that this is, so they've got every single study, a lot of them from very dodgy places in America, who've come out over and over again with this cardiovascular health thing, especially with the animal studies. Harvard being one, I think, isn't it? There's been some.
Well, and one of the big ones was retracted. The Stanton Glantz.
Yeah.
Was retracted.
That still gets cited.
But this is great to get them all together and say, well, fuck, let's just look at everything all at once and review these things. That's what it's for. And
I think they're missing a big point as well, though, when they start granularizing heart issues with vaping, because you forget a massive part of heart disease is respiratory issues.
Yes.
Their jobs of the heart is to move oxygen around the body. So if anything is impeding your oxygen gathering, like smoking, then it has automatically a worse effect than vaping. It shouldn't even be up for comparison, really.
No, that's what effectively they're saying. This is past the point of ludicrous. It's absolutely stupid. You're lying. But two of the studies, well, there's a real issue with nicotine, especially how rapidly nicotine is so readily absorbed by the human body, and it does increase heart rate. That's absolutely true. But it's whether it's a temporary thing or not. And it clearly shown in long-term studies that it's temporary, and it does no real damage, no more than a cup of coffee, which is where we get that's where we get the cup of coffee analogy. And lots of people use. I mean, Matt's been doing this for long enough. We've all been doing this for long enough. There are analogies that make me go, ugh, fuck. When somebody says steam, I hate it. When someone says, no, it's not. When I blow out, it's just steam. It's not steam. It's not steam. They go, it's water vapor. No. And then they'll say, it's exactly the same as coffee. No, no. They're a lot. Do you know they use PG to clean hospitals? No, they don't.
I don't mind the perspective of saying it's as.
I think it's how you. I just mean it's how you word it.
Yeah.
Well, and the problem is, I mean, there's been a lot of other science that debunks what they're saying as far as cardiovascular health. But even if the two were equal on cardiovascular health, they then try to make it sound like vaping's just as bad as smoking when they're leaving out the other health conditions that people die from smoking, like cancer, where it's been very clear that one is much more hazardous than the other.
We've now got in the UK, food kills more people than cigarettes now. It took over 5 years ago or so, and that's quite a weird thing.
Frankenmeiser in chat says that apparently Stanton Glantz has retired.
Oh.
Yeah, but he's still like doing some consulting and stuff.
Right.
Still have his right time to type.
So he still might pop up.
That's the end of the news.
That's the end of the news. So we should ask Matt some stuff a little bit.
I gotta find the thing now.
One thing I think we've got to ask, it'll probably come up in the comments from everyone watching, but have you got anything new? Have you got anything lined up with your name on? Is anything on the horizon?
There's been a dual 21700 mod that I've been working on for like a year and a half, 2 years, and it's like kept getting stalled as far as releasing it. But I think we're gonna release it before the end of the year.
Nice.
So stay tuned.
Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued. Has it had the same? I don't know if it's had the same impact. The Aspire Sunbox mix. Has that
Oh
had
yeah,
any dent? A lot of people using that.
I think so. I love mine, but I mean
think
it's
it's
hard to
great.
tell because I'm at home. Like
Yeah.
I'm not going to vape shows as much and stuff.
Yeah.
But I know my video on it got a crap load of views, so
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's pretty popular.
I think it's gone down really well.
Yeah, that's good. I just wondered. So I'm not going to ask the first one.
I'm all for this new breed of collaboration with the sort of niche companies collaborating with the mainstream manufacturers. I think it's really good.
Yeah, I think it's a cool idea.
I've got a question for you from Dar Keed. I think I'm going to skip the one about a little chap who lives in Scotland. Does he know the FEV? And if so, has he tried it? Fev? No, fair enough. That was good.
What is it? Do you know?
No
I
idea.
have no idea what that is.
That's the question. Anyway, Lachlan Ho or Lachlan How, what is your favourite innovation in vaping in the last 5 years?
Oh, that's tough. I mean,
Five gives you
But
scope.
what about in a more recent time, though?
Yeah, okay.
here's the thing. I think the best innovation is how easy it is for people to vape. I mean, whether it be with a pod system or AIO, or even still modern tanks are just easier and more simple to use than they used to be. So just the streamlining of things for, the harm reduction, and a lot of hobbyists hate that, but for the harm reduction aspect of it, the fact that anybody can go and grab something like this Caliburn G and get up and running right away, and it works great, is amazing to me. Now, I mean, as far as like myself, I don't know what the.
See, I think there's two different. I will say, but the pod thing, I think there's various things. I haven't got a problem with the pod at all. I have a problem with a pod if it's manufactured or majority owned by a big tobacco company. They can suck a bag of dicks, because I just think that's literally my only issue. I don't care. It's just that they're so the Caliburn's not made by a cigarette company, so I haven't got a problem with it. I got a problem. I predicted what happened to the Juul, and it happened.
The thing with something like a Caliburn compared to a lot of the other ones is they are actually putting modern vaping technology into the pod. There was a period of time where so many pods were coming out, and it was still thin canthal wire, rubbish bit of cotton,
It's normally a bit of nichrome and some and a bit of shitty fiberglass.
When pods first came out, there was no way that I could only use a pod all day. Like I could, but I mean, with something like this, I would be totally fine using this all day. I still like to swap it up because I still like direct lung hits too, but it's the technology and the way it performs has come a long way just in the last few years.
Is that the one with the variable wattage?
No, this one doesn't have variable wattage.
What's the black bit then near the bottom?
That's just there's a light, and it's just Caliburn right there.
Right. Smok have just done one with a screen, haven't they?
As far as other innovations, though, I mean, it's tough to pinpoint. Like, I enjoy different trends. Like, I love the billet box trend and the all-in-one type of trends. And I love that MTL RTAs have gotten so much better over the last few years. But I mean, as far as like one big thing, I
think
it's just really been incremental innovation lately.
Next question from same chap. Does the HAR have too many cloud engravings on it or not?
Have you seen Todd's tank, the HAR?
Have you not seen Todd's tank, the HAR?
Matt Todd's got his
Did he just release it?
No, about
3 months ago.
3 months ago.
Yeah.
Oh, well, screw Todd for not sending me one.
Yeah, they didn't send anyone one.
Was it with like a high-end manufacturer or something?
Yeah, it's with Van and Del.
Van and Del, but they got it made out.
Yeah, it's affordable. It's affordable, but
affordable.
it's sort of mid-tier. You know, like sort of Nick did with the recoil.
Gotcha.
Sort of that
Kind of
mid-tier.
Last question from this young chap. Will tube mechs and dual coil RDAs make a comeback when the latest billet fad dies out again?
I don't think that we will ever see tube mechs and RDAs be as popular as they once were.
They served a purpose because we were trying to get round something. I think that.
Yeah, back then, they served a purpose, and in order to get a certain type of vape experience, you had to use products like that. Yeah. Do I think that like there'll be kind of spikes in popularity? Yeah, for sure. Especially like if some really cool shit comes out, and then people, look at like side-by-side mods all of a sudden making somewhat of a comeback because one or two come out that are really cool, and then other people put out theirs, and so it's not to say that tubes and RDAs and other rebuildables won't ever have be trendy again. I just don't think they'll ever be at that peak popularity level they were at in say 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a squonk revival in the next year at some point.
Probably. There's been like 6 of them since I've.
Yeah, I agree. Everything goes round and round, doesn't it?
It just goes round. Yeah, it's quite cool though.
There's less need though, isn't there? There's less and less need.
Yeah, there's less and less.
Every time something comes along.
People say like the AIO or billet trend or whatever is, once that fizzles out. I don't necessarily know that that's going to fizzle out because it serves a purpose of a small pocket device that's easy to use. And so you might see other products that aren't billet boxes, you might see billet boxes go out of style, but I don't think the whole segment of AIOs is going to go out of style anytime soon.
They've done so well. You have to know, billet, the BB is one of the fallback. It's a legend mod in vaping. Russell Blair asks, what type of tinfoil hat does Matt recommend for watching the American TV news?
Whiskey
hat.
Yeah, just a beer hat just with whiskey.
See, I know the answer to this because you're in Montana, and this is kind of cheating. Ben Morton has said, what do you think of cheese in a can? But I know this because you were talking about it a couple of days ago. So. You don't really do cheese.
Talking about.
You were talking about a Philly cheesesteak.
Yeah, Philly. I think cheese in a can is most of the time gross, but I will say I've had moments where I'm either stoned or drunk, and you got like some Ritz crackers and some of the canned cheese, and like you just go to town, and you just, it's not the best, but it's there, and you can. So it's edible, but it's definitely not something I'm going to choose to eat on a regular basis.
You've done it. Sasha, we're talking about Adele, asks, who is he voting for and why is it Trump?
You don't have to answer Trump. It's not Trump. I didn't vote for Trump the first time.
We had, it's because last time before the last election, I had a chat. I was just talking to all the Plumes guys, and and Fu being a New Yorker was like, I'm never voting for Trump in a million years. Get fucked. But the rest of them were all just like, or anything but Hillary. And I said, do you know what? I don't care what anybody says, but I'm going to tell you now, whatever happens, Obama is going to look like a fucking saint in 4 years' time. It doesn't make any difference. And the other day, when there was an old clip came out of Obama, and all the comments were, I miss him, we're sorry, we didn't mean it. And I thought, he wasn't the greatest president, but it doesn't matter because it's now relative to holy fuck.
Yeah. I look at Trump kind of like through a historical lens, and I look at him as being a symptom of a bigger issue. Just like we saw I don't want to draw this comparison like I think Trump is the exact same person as Mussolini or Hitler, but you see, I consider Trump to be a far right wing ultra nationalist populist that has fascism tendencies, And usually things like movements like that come about when the liberal democracy of the day isn't doing super duper great. There's a pretty big gap between rich and poor. Maybe there's an issue with economics. And so a country tends to go to the left or to the
I
right.
agree.
100% correct.
Hitler. People forget as well that Hitler was the symptom of post-war agreements with the rest of Europe that were unworkable.
And Hitler was the answer to the socialist rise of the communist rise of the day. Because so like, I just listened to an interesting podcast on this, but like, Germany was one of the most progressive countries after World War One.
Yeah.
Like if you were gay, you wanted to be in Germany out of any country in the world.
Yeah,
but then the Great Depression.
Brief window.
There was a brief window. Then the Great Depression happened, and their economy stumbled again. Obviously, socialists, the communists were on the rise. So then the fascists were kind of the answer to the communists. And Hitler sold everybody originally on making Germany great again and bringing it wasn't like he was like, hey guys, vote for me. I'm going to kill everyone and take you to war. He was a populist right-wing dude that was like, I'm the alternative to these crazy communists. Vote for me, and I'm going to make your life normal again and give you jobs.
For years, like there's always been like a thing in the UK, which is total bullshit. But people say, if anyone's a vegetarian, it's always been this thing where people go, "Oh, did you know Hitler was a vegetarian?" You go, "Oh, shut the fuck up, please God, shut up." And then, but recently, that's been superseded by Americans because I've seen a few Americans say, "Do you know Hitler was a socialist?" I don't know if you've heard of the Holocaust. He wasn't. Like, I don't need to. No one needs to check that, you fucking idiot. Doesn't make any sense. They called themselves that. That's what the party's called. Doesn't make any fucking difference.
Yeah, well, fascism's really hard to explain to somebody that doesn't understand it well. And it's a little bit deep. Most people don't have a firm understanding of political ideology.
That's true.
But I mean, that 2016 election in the U.S., Hillary was the wrong candidate for that time. I mean, people were wanting an outsider populist type. So Bernie against Trump would have basically brought you lefty populism versus righty populism. And it would have been a really interesting race. But I guess my big fear is like Biden's kind of the same status quo, moderate type, who definitely wasn't my first pick by any means. And so are we going to go back to that status quo stuff and not address some of the big issues that gave us Trump and then be in an even bigger pile of shit, 4 or 8 years from now?
What's the feeling on the ground? Like, because we're hearing it over here that Biden's ahead, but is there a feeling that he's got it over there, or is it still too early to say?
Mean, I don't think anyone's too confident because you never know. And with the way we're doing the election, with all the mail-in ballots and stuff, and there's some states that might not report for a couple weeks, and there's a good chance there's going to be lawsuits, and Trump's going to sue over some of the different, he's got people on the ground in multiple states looking for inconsistencies in the mail-in ballots. And so, it could be a big clusterfuck for a while after the election. But yeah, all the polling shows that Biden has a comfortable lead, but it's just, you never know, man. And I mean, in October, it's always when like crazy stories come out and new shit dirt on each person comes out and stuff, and you have the October surprises. And so
there was the funny story yesterday, and it was Matt's personal Facebook page is one of my main sources of entertainment, because Matt is basically he works at a termite farm, and every so often he just gets a smoke bomb and throws it in the middle. And I don't know why you don't bin more friends on your friends list, because
of how much fun it is.
Really funny. There was a really great post you made, because there's the story yesterday that about Rudy Giuliani in part of the Borat film, but it wasn't the story that was funny. It was people's responses to it, and already didn't matter what. Doesn't make any difference what you think, whether it's true or not, or whether it was this or whether it was that. It was people's stances on why, even if it did happen, why it wasn't that bad. One of them was, somebody said, He's married. Like, because the story was that he put his hands down his trousers.
Oh
The
yeah, I
filler
know
was
that guy though. I think what he was trying to say was like his wife's gonna
I
be
know.
fucking pissed after.
Oh
But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. But there was,
cool.
but it was because it was an ending trail. Somebody said she's not 15, she's 24, and it was
Yeah.
like, oh, so you can put your hands in your pants if they're 24 or above. Okay, as long as we know that, that's fine. That's what I'm doing. I'm IDing people now. I'm in the co-op saying everyone here is 24, yeah, and they're like, yeah, 26, great, and I just hand down the pads, done.
Yeah, it's tough because on my Facebook post, like that's my personal page,
Yeah.
but I do have shitloads of friends. I have like 5,000 friends or whatever Facebook allows, and people that follow me as well. But like, I don't go into it thinking like I'm gonna
I know you
really
don't.
fucking
I know you
stir
don't.
it up. But
Oh,
but I
fuck
know it's
off!
gonna
The other
happen.
day you did when you said if there was a riot after the election.
Oh yeah, because everyone's constantly like, there's gonna be a civil war. There's gonna be a civil war. So I want people to actually like logically think through this and on
That's
how
not.
you.
That is not what happened, though, was it? It was just
Yeah.
mental cases up here. I'm gonna get myself a gun. I'm gonna go out. And I'm gonna shoot myself some lefties. Is what happened. It's like, all right, mate, calm down. And they were all the same kind of people. Oh, we're gonna have to
Next,
let's
move
go
on.
move off politics.
Also, posts like that sometimes are good for people to show their asses. So
Oh yeah,
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 definitely.
fucking funny as shit. I've been told Scotty Bogfoot says to ask you about Logan Pass. How nice is it? And the last time he was in the Glacial National Park.
yeah, it's really nice. I've been to it. It's I didn't go to Glacier this summer, but I usually go every summer, and it's gorgeous up there.
Excellent. And what hockey team do you support? Seeing how the closest ones to you are all Canadian.
I grew up in Seattle, and so I've never been a huge hockey fan because we didn't have a pro hockey team at the time, but now they're getting an NHL team, and so I might start getting more into hockey, but it's just never been my favorite sport. I'll watch hockey. It's fun to watch sometimes, but I'm not a diehard. So I don't really have a favorite team.
Oh, this is a good question for tonight as well, especially with this. Don't worry, it's not politics. In your opinion, wild turkey a good choice? And what is your preferred bourbon?
Wild turkey's a good choice if you want to get fucked up, but I mean, it's just okay, I guess. I wouldn't drink it other than like a mixed drink. For like cheaper bourbons, like
Because you're a Scotch man as well, aren't you?
yeah, I'm usually a Scotch man. Like we have bourbon and stuff, and I drink it sometimes, but I drink more Scotch. But for cheaper bourbons, I like Maker's Mark or Woodford's Reserve or some of those. And like bourbons, I don't really like. I'll spend hundreds of dollars on a bottle of Scotch if it's a really good one that I want. But with bourbon, I just don't see the benefit to, like, because some of these guys will spend like hundreds or thousands of dollars on a rare bottle or whatever. I don't see a huge benefit. I do like Whistle Pig. That's rye. It's not a bourbon, but I'll spend like $80-$90 on a bottle of that. But
There's nothing for me. There's nothing worse. If you get like, because that was the other thing that happened at the beginning of lockdown in the UK. I think a lot of Scotch makers or suppliers realised what was going to happen. The market might drop out, as they were sales on, and they knocked £40 off a bottle of Scotch. And then you get it, you unwrap it, pull the cork, pour yourself like a double, take a sip, and you think, oh no, I'm in real trouble. Fuck, I'm gonna be dead, because it's just too good, and you think, I'm gonna fucking die now. I had a really peaty, amazing Scotch. It went in about 5 days.
I'll hit up a PD one once in a while, but like
Really
like the
good.
go-tos for me, like for just like easy drinking, or like Balvenie or Macallan or something.
Yeah.
The Balvenie Portwood, what is it, 21 year? I love that thing. It's sweeter Scotch, but it's really good.
I don't know, in the UK there is a thing, people with bourbon, fucking JD. I can't even smell it. It's so fucking awful. I hate.
Yeah, the thing is with Jack Daniels is it's not that much cheaper than Maker's Mark. And Maker's Mark is the superior product. Like Maker's Mark is a couple dollars more than Jack Daniels usually.
Yeah. Yeah, stuff. Fuck, it's so sweet as well. 2 questions. Why do Americans misspell everything? This is from John Frape. And wrongly pronounce the English language. And when are Americans switching to the metric system?
I mean, I don't know when the misspelling started, but probably a way to distinguish ourselves from the tyrants that control them.
It's the thing is, you're spelling it. But the American spellings are phonetic, aren't they? When you look at it, they're phonetic.
Yeah.
It makes
Yeah, they
sense.
make more sense.
They do make sense, but I'm not going to fucking use them. Yeah. It's very annoying because you have to keep changing that. I have to keep changing the language of my laptop. Because sometimes it slips to US. Fuck you. Change it back.
Well, and what's crazy about, and I know you guys have this also, but like in the US, there's so many different accents as well. I mean, because you got like, I'm from, like I said, Washington, the Northwest. They're in like California, the whole West Coast, people talk pretty flat, like basically like me, Then when you start going east in the north part into eastern Montana, not really where I live, but into North Dakota, Minnesota, then you start getting that almost Canadian Minnesota, and then obviously the Northeast, you got all the people that talk like John Nathan and people from Baston and shit like that. And then in the South, you got the Southern accent. And then there's like variants in every place. Like Louisiana accent's different from some of the other Southern states.
I still remember the first time you came on the show, Matt, because it was me, Dean, Rick, and Craig, and we'd never spoken to you, never met you before. I'd like met you at maybe met you at shows and stuff, and we started the hangout and stuff like that, and we were setting up the show, and you, deadpan, looked at the camera and you went, but I can't do your accent, but I'm gonna do a generic American, and you went, I don't know how to say this, but the guy with the black hair, and pointed at me, I can understand what he's saying. I don't know what the fuck anybody else is saying. So either slow down or something, because I don't, or
I remember that.
Or you just get him to say everything that everybody else has said again. And I was like, amazing. It was really funny because Dean's not from that far away from me, but I'm from Buckinghamshire originally, which is really home counties, and everybody sounds like this. And Dean's accent's not that difficult, but it's quite, because he's from Norfolk and in the east of England, people run the words into each other.
Yeah, he talks faster than you.
There's no pauses through the words, so it becomes, have you got a pen? Becomes, hey, you got a pen? And then you go, what the fuck? But you get used to it. But I just remember Dean looking at the thing
in the UK, you can go 10 miles and not understand.
Oh, it's gone. Like
West Yorkshire, but I can go to South Yorkshire and not understand what they're saying.
When we went to Lincolnshire, which is not very far away, a few weeks ago, I was in a pub and ordered some food, and the woman who took the order, absolutely brilliant, but it was part of her vernacular to say the word my darling. And she says, she came up with a notebook and she went, "You all right there, my darling? What can I get you?" And I said, "Oh, a pint of Guinness, my darling. Would you want anything off the menu?" I said, "Lasagna, no problem, my darling. One lasagna. Do you want any chips with that, my darling?" Some chips. Fucking hell, that's nearly Tourette's. You've gone mad.
I love the accents over there, though. I've gotten better at understanding them. What's really hard is when you're at a vape expo and you got music going in the background. It's loud, really, and then you got like people talking, and like got to get closer to them and slow down a little bit, man.
Yeah, that's tough for everybody, because it's just, especially because it's not only one. There's one sound system over there. There's one over there. They need to stop that. And then you've got some talking to. Yeah,
and some of those North accents can be tough.
Yeah.
Once you get Geordie, it's gone. Don't know what they say. I'll have to get some vaping questions in. Barnabas Franklin, are tubes gonna make a comeback? We kind of covered that.
Yeah, we've done that. Next one.
Yeah, we covered that.
What is the most frustrating Atty to build that you put loads of time in, but you could never get it quite right?
Oh, there hasn't been any for a long time, but like
Genesis.
The old school stuff, like the Ithaca crap, what's the dude's name that made
the Golden Greek guy?
Yeah, the Golden Greek guy. All those different. What was the other one? There was the Ithaca, and then there was another one.
I know what you mean, because they were all like res, no res wire, weren't they?
Yeah, and you had to like weld wires together and
Yeah,
shit,
yeah.
try to fit it, and had little ceramic pieces in there, and oh my god, pain in the ass. Then I got a K-Fun, and I'm like, screw all that other shit. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna go with this.
Well, I remember watching because I never actually owned one, anything by the Golden Greek, but I used to watch. I remember watching Todd, and going, "What the fuck? Why the fuck would you buy that?" And he was doing
Yeah.
the welding and stuff. Just thinking, you're mad. Ali's
That guy with
asking,
his designs, it was always like, how can I make it the most complicated? It's over
Yeah,
engineered.
like 100 pieces on one tank.
Yeah.
Sorry, somebody just put a message right at the top. Okay, I'm going to go. Maybe I'll go with last question, then we'll go to Rich. Rich with the new stuff. John Malcolm. This is just quite good for what we were talking about earlier. Do Americans normally tuck their shirts in by lying down on a bed? If the answer is no, then a follow-up question: is tucking your shirt in a euphemism for beating your meat, spanking the monkey, hand to gland combat?
I can't wait until that movie comes out tomorrow.
I know, it's amazing.
And
What he's gonna kick ass on
I
Prime.
saw multiple screenshots of that, and like he's sitting on the. I can't stand Rudy. Let me say
he's
this.
a fuckhead. Yeah, I totally agree.
But he's sitting on the bed, and she's like taking his mic off, and then the next one is him leaning back, and it's like either he's tucking his shirt in, but like he's so fat he's got to lean back. But why would you even do that right in front of the woman? Or he's playing with himself. But I think even if he was just tucking his shirt in, I think he was said some inappropriate stuff to her. Yeah. That's what I've read. Like he was flirting with her and asking her for her phone number and shit. It's not going to make him look good.
Only 2 people got the joke. As soon as I saw your thread got up, I got in on about comment number 6, and I put Rudy Giuliani's a shitbag. What? And only 2 people even got the joke. Like, what the fuck? He's a shitbag of epic proportions. He's such a horrible toss bag.
Which is, it's crazy because like in the 90s, he was known as like
legendary.
New York's law and order mayor. Yeah. He cleaned up New York. Really, I mean, he did a lot of racist policies and stuff like that in order to, just over policed basically in order to like, and threw people in jail for longer than they needed to be. But there's
currently a Netflix documentary in the UK about the corruption within the NYPD and the and the crime families and Rudy Giuliani, and it looks like Rudy Giuliani is like the nicest guy.
Yeah, ever. Like he was the good guy back then, fighting the mob and shit like that. But
as you said, there's some policy changes which were fucking devastating for various people.
Yeah,
and pretty horrible person. Richard, should we see some new stuff?
Yeah, let's do some new stuff. Okay, so we'll try it like we did last time.
Sorry if I skipped anyone's question. That's just quicker.
Okay, so this is where we just show some random new stuff that's been announced, Matt. Some of it's new, some of it's not super new. Have you seen this one? The Top Gear.
No, is Top Gear a brand or
it's
the name of?
Yeah, it's from Dovpo. It's the Dovpo.
Oh, okay,
Dovpo Top Gear. Dual, I think it's dual 18650 DNA 250C. It's got the sort of fancy panels.
But what's up with that like battery cap on the top?
Is that a fire switch or?
I don't know. It
reminds me. Do you
remember
that mod?
Oh no, I don't know.
They kind of did. That thing with detonator.
It's clearly got a battery door at the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so like, what's up with the switch on top? That's because it's got a normal fire button.
Yeah, I really don't know.
Not a squonker, is it?
Oh, maybe.
Is it like a topside style?
Maybe.
Is that why it's called Top Gear? Because it's topside style.
Right.
Squonker?
So it's obviously both. You can obviously use it as a dual battery or single battery with topside filling.
I see.
So you can switch it for a cartridge, I guess.
They're not going to get sued by the BBC.
I don't know.
Top Gear's got to be copyright. That's crazy.
It's not a perfect name for Britain anyway.
No, it's bad. I just think they're going to get a cease and desist immediately for Top Gear.
So, yeah, it's DNA 250C, but it says up to 200 watts. Isn't
That's
it?
weird.
What isn't it? 166. If it's maybe they've tweaked it. I don't know.
Oh, nice.
But yes, that's new. So that's the very first pictures of it. So I don't know enough about it. This is what I've just opened and started using today. It's been out a little while, to be fair, but it's the Force TX80, and like we said at the start, it's a little bit agency, just a little bit too agency for me. And I'm not a big fan of these tanks that look reinforced either. I don't mind if the tank breaks, especially.
You don't mind?
No, do you know what I mean? Versus it looking like that.
Yeah, true.
It's
I
the, it's
think
the
it's
mod
good
you
for
want
the
to keep.
guy that really wants something super duper durable, even his tank,
Yeah.
but it's not as good looking as a regular tank.
Yeah. I suppose it's like a constructor or builder's dream or something like that.
Yeah.
So there's that. This is the first teaser pic from Geek Vape of their new RDA, the Trallo X.
So there's no decks. You've just
Tallow
got that at the moment.
Yes, there's nothing. We've not seen it.
Ah.
Nothing.
Interesting.
Airflow, more to go. It may well be a mesh. It might be a mesh RDA, is my guess. Because, like we were saying before, no one's making dual coil RDAs at the moment. So
No.
I think it might be a mesh RDA, but I don't know. Again, and that's the first tease we've got. Not giving much away, as they do these days. This one's pretty cool. So this is the same people. This is Fallout Vape again, who are collaborating with people and working as the distro, I think. So this is Mech Life.
I think you have to bring that in a tiny.
Yeah,
bit
I will.
Oh, cool.
It's Mech Life, Mr. Just Right 1, and Fallout Vape.
Oh, yeah.
This
I remember someone made that.
side-by-side
yeah.
mod.
Yeah,
So
so
mate-
Mech Life must be manufacturing.
Yes, Mech Life are making it. Fallout Vape and
It's
Mr.
right.
Just
I mean,
1.
it's bang on trend, isn't it? It's side by side. It's bang on trend.
Makes a lot of sense that those are coming back. And like, I told a manufacturer this last year. I said, like, with MTL Addies coming back, you need to start making small single 18650 mods again. Look at side by sides. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because
Now they-
tanks got better. Basically, tanks got better. So there was always going to be a call for mods for tanks again.
That's got something that the mix hasn't got, where it's got a charge port, where the mix hasn't got that.
It
just got
looks
Type-C.
okay to me. I mean,
I don't hate it, but people were being shitty because not realizing what Mech Life is a company. People were saying, well, it says Mech Life, but it's
it's
got a port.
regulated. Yeah,
I know.
it was just an initial brand thing. They did the Arcless, which is a very solid mech. So I think that looks quite good. I'm excited for that.
I think it is. I want to know if they got a price point yet.
It'll be affordable.
Cool. If they come in about where 50 quid and above, like just above, they're okay.
Yeah, it'll be about 60.
Yeah, that's about. Yeah,
ish,
sorry, that's where I am. Ballpark, like
I
medium.
would say. Yeah, and it'll be very available in the UK because Fallout Vape are UK people. How do I get this to? There
Nice
we go.
Christmas present.
Cheeky picture from Mark Todd. So this is the new Alu Mass 60. There's two pictures here. This one is actually the Shu RTA, SHU RTA. Quite an interesting looking RTA.
I'll give you that. It's not ugly. It's just different.
Yeah, so stay tuned to Mark if you want to find out more about that one. I don't know anything about it, but it's sort of mid-high end sort of tanky thing. It looks quite dapper. I don't know why this doesn't want to switch. Oh, this is a better picture of something we showed before. This is the Smok Tech Scar Mini, which we said kind of looked kind of Pico-y.
It does look pico.
Very Pico, isn't it?
single 18650.
Yeah.
It'll be a dinky, and I mean, I think they could do okay out of that because the Pico is popular and they don't do them. So
It's a proven shape, isn't it? It's a proven format. It'll be a good tank. I don't mind it. I don't mind that actually.
I don't hate that. I could do without the fucking like faux stabwood thing, but I don't know. It's a sticker.
Yeah, but that's to Smok standards. That's far less in your face than normal.
Normal. Yeah, it's true. It doesn't look like vomit.
Scar mod, the larger one, the dual 18650 one, was actually quite nice.
Yeah, it's a really good performer, isn't it? Yeah. So it will probably be quite good. This is the other one actually that he's talking about at Mark told. There's two pictures in one. So this is the Alu Mask 60,
That's a heart on there.
and
as well.
though that's Mark's tank, by the way, on there, the heart.
Gotcha.
But that's a classy side by side, isn't it?
Doesn't look bad,
It's
does
quite
it?
pretty. I'm assuming that's the fire button right in the middle.
Oh yeah, it could be. And it's got like it's acid etched on the tubing or something, isn't it?
I think that's nice.
Yeah.
Again, keep your eye on Mark's channel for all that sort of stuff. How many have I got? I don't know if I've got any more. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, so that's it. That's it for new stuff this week. Speaking of which, what has been your biggest success, your biggest collaborative success, Matt? Which is the biggest seller, if you like?
Probably the Serpent SMM.
Yep. Still got loads of people in the group that use that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that did really well. There was you were the first guy to do the sort of the coil on top thing, weren't you? With the
drop downs.
Yeah, what was that one? I can't remember what that one's called.
Oh, the Theorem.
Theron, that was it. Yeah. So it's nice when your name's on something, you know there's going to be a twist on it. It's going to be something a bit different, which is cool.
That's a touch sensor, that button, by the way, on that mod. Ali's Auntie Ali's just said it in chat. Thanks, Ali.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
What have you got anything new in, Matt? What's coming up review wise for you? Have you got a queue?
What do I have? It's a little slower. I have a few videos coming up. What is it? The Vaporesso X Iron. I have one uploading right now on the Hitta Ink.
Oh yeah, I've just done that.
That was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
The Hitta Ink. I'm not crazy about the art, but like the MTL coil in that thing and the airflow control works really well. Better MTL vape than a lot of pod mods out there.
Yeah, it's a surprisingly good vape. I'm not a massive fan of the angry pandas and stuff, but yeah, it's a cool looking thing. The one before that, the original Hitter, was really cool. It was like a little mech, wasn't it, with a pod on top? Yeah. I really liked that, the style of that. But it's a nice vape. We were talking about innovation before. I think the last 12 months, the nicest thing for everyone really is they actually nailed mesh coils in pre-made tanks. You know, because they were so bad at first, and then it was like the Crown 3 or the Crown 4 hit, and that was a proper mesh sub-ohm coil, and it vaped great. And all these mesh coils pre-made coming out now are great.
It's weird, quite odd for new people. They don't, you know, sometimes you don't realise. Well, we don't, because you won't. Someone who's new to vaping, all these things confuse the crap out of them. I had somebody the other day ask me about mesh, and it's like for the normal vapor, the answer is it doesn't matter. Try it. See what you reckon. It's fucking pointless. I can explain what it is. Somebody asked me about Nick salts the other day, and I said, well, I can kind of explain it or not bother. I can go into detail because I've had to many times, but it doesn't really matter in life. But he did say, yeah, please. Oh, fucking hell. 40 minutes talking about Nick salts.
The mesh thing though, it's good because whether a new vapor or old vapor can come along, buy something like this, fill it with juice, and it vapes great now. You know what? It's not hit and miss anymore.
I would like. Are you missing us, Matt, not being over in the UK? I mean, this must be the first time for years you haven't been over this. You know, in a year.
Yeah, last time I was there was May of 2019.
Yeah.
So you were at Expo
Birmingham,
Yeah.
We just kind of get used to seeing you when we're there, so it's quite odd. We've spoken about this on the show quite a lot of times. One of the things that a lot of people who are have been in the business for a long time or have been into vaping for a long time, the thing they're missing most is the social side. They can do everything else, but it takes that bit's gone, and that's what makes it tough. Yeah. And I agree. I think it's been a really odd thing. I've not seen Richard. It's November. I haven't seen Richard in person for a month. Last time
I
saw
always
it,
get a boost out of an expo. You know, it's just it's a shot of energy, isn't it, for vaping? You know.
Yeah, well, I normally do 4 a year. I don't know, Matt. Do you do because I mean the US convention side was sort of been lagging in the last few years, anyway, because of restrictions.
Yeah,
by
it
state.
was already on the, they just weren't what they used to be. But the UK ones,
I think it's going to come back next year. As long as the restrictions are done, I think we're going to come out live and kick it. And I can't see a problem with it.
They were
hopefully.
They were kind of going slightly more and more corporate each time, though, weren't they?
I think they're going to relook at Jam because I think that was a fuck up. Because they were doing really badly at selling space. So maybe this will give them the breathing space to not make the fuck up again, because they turned it into a business convention, and we already weren't going. And I think lots of people were doing that. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else. We've got to do Christmas coming up. How many kids have you got, Matt? I can't remember.
Two.
Christmas is going to be very much a family thing this year. I think everyone's going to have to get used to that.
Nice and festive.
Yeah, I think it'll work. I already tried to plan things a bit, just going to concentrate on our Christmas at home with some really good food.
Yeah.
Very alcoholic alcohol.
Stuart
I miss traveling, but at the same time, like this year, it was kind of nice to just have a
year off, yeah,
at home with the kids more thing.
Because you went loads of places in 2019, didn't you?
Yeah.
Didn't you go Australian Expo as well?
No, New Zealand.
New Zealand, sorry, that was it. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Stuart Drummer mentioned, speaking of expos, CBD Fest, because they're getting CBD's becoming such a big part of them now.
Yeah.
Where do you sit with CBD? Do you use it? Do you like it? Does it pass you by?
I'm not against it. I use it once in a while. I just don't find the massive benefits that other people get from it. But I'm not going to say it doesn't work, because with me, I need to take high doses though when I do. But I mean, I'm definitely a pro cannabis product person, and I use it periodically, but I go in waves, where I don't use it for months, and then I'll somebody sent me some Delta 8 cartridges, and I hadn't tried it yet, so I'm trying that right now. But before that, I hadn't used anything for 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
I never got anything from CBD. I tried it a few times. People sent me full spectrum this and stuff. Well, the only time I did get something from CBD was when in the UK, when it first came out, and they forgot to take out the THC. That was amazing. You could go and buy 60 mils of fucking liquid for 15 quid and get as high as shit.
I think CBD is the best when mixed with THC. I think it helps.
Help me get through my godson's birthday. Fuck, that's boring.
It helps with the paranoid, anxiety stuff that some people can get, which I get from marijuana. Is if it's a 1-to-1 CBD and THC, it chills you out a little bit more.
Oh, fair dues. I tried, because I have insomnia, so I was trying to use CBD, but it's just nothing. I'd never got any. I know lots of people.
Everyone gets such a different reaction, don't they?
Yeah, I think some people get something from it, but I just don't. And I don't sell it in the shop for that reason, because I don't get anything from it, and I'd feel disingenuous to sell it, so I don't bother selling it. I'm not being mean. G'day, Lance is here from Australia.
It's a funny one as well, though, because vaping is kind of required for the purposes of getting nicotine and the cessation of cigarettes, but you can just get CBD anyway, can't you? You don't need to vape to get CBD. You can just drop it on. Yeah.
They actually think it's better if you can put it under your tongue or something. Lictus in the UK, they reckon.
I like the tinctures better than vaping.
That's what I mean. Sorry, yeah.
Sorry. So that's.
See, now somebody said CBD is not the best place to go with vaping, and I think that depends on where you're at as far as the country goes. Like with you guys, that might make sense, but like here, I think in some ways CBD and CBD vaporizers is helping some of these shops because, in the US, cannabis products are looked at more kindly now than nicotine products are. And
Yeah.
so if you can say to the FDA, look, our vaporizers aren't just for nicotine, it's also for
Yeah, that's true.
CBD, like
There's
they might
people,
crack down
and
on
there's
maybe
and there's
crack
there's
down.
lots of little shops in the UK who make a lot of money from CBD, who are vaping shops as well. I don't care what other people do.
Yeah,
But I never
it's-
have done.
I
Yeah,
think it
yeah,
has
to each their own,
something
and
to
it's not. I was just saying, like in the U.S., I think
Yeah,
sometimes
absolutely.
it's a net benefit.
Yeah, yeah.
Dom says I find half a bottle of gin helps my sleeping problems. That is true, but I'm not doing that because I get in trouble again. So I'm not doing it. Yeah, it's been a shame. No fest this year. We did our own like local type show last year for the ideal vape meet, and it was fantastic. We had a great time. We had 120 vapors in a pub we took over, and everybody had I think it works really, really well because
Nice.
everything was taken out. It was only the social, really.
I could see that happening in America as well, though. Like more localized, sort
Yeah.
of going back to its roots a bit with vape meets in America.
Yeah, I think that's what needs to happen. More of a community type of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
We had 3 stalls. We meant to have more, but as is with all these things, when you start out fresh, people wouldn't get on board. We did approach loads of people, and they wouldn't get on board. And our shop was one of the vendors. Big Mark was another one. Gary was another one. And we did an insane amount of business because everybody there was aged between 30 and 55 and sort of upwardly mobile. And the pub, I don't think they've ever had a day like that in their lives. They sold hundreds of pints. We sold £2,000 worth of raffle tickets for a charity. Just bang, gone. It
Yeah, it was
really,
awesome.
really worked. And
Nice.
I think that's the way. It is the way forward. A lot of people have said that when the conventions open up next year, the one they want to happen is ours. So I'm quite happy with that because then now I've got
But
a bit of
again,
relatives.
for sure.
Cool.
Well, and
Awesome.
sometimes like with getting companies on board and getting just people to come, they're kind of like sheep and they want to see how it plays
Yeah, how
out
it goes
first, and
first,
then
yeah.
you show some success and like they want to be a part of it the next time.
It got frustrating because the closer we got, the more interested people got because they could see the numbers, and they were kind of, and now I want to do it. Yeah, now it's too late because we can't do
Yeah.
it like that, which was a bit sorry, fuck.
Which
And
I
obviously-
get.
I think
They want to
we
see
know
if
what
it's
we're
worth
doing
their
now.
while.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got it now. Yeah, we'll go bigger and better if we can.
Yeah, but that's good. I think that's a wrap. I think that's.
I think that is a wrap. Thank you so much for coming on, Matt.
Cheers, Mama.
Especially
Thanks for having
with
me,
everything
guys.
you've got done.
Always good to
We
see.
do always like having you on. I do hope whatever happens is whatever happens in the election, I hope is unstressful for you and yours, and that hopefully we all get a grip on COVID soon.
Yeah, for sure.
Fuck.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's gonna take some
Crazy
time.
year, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and have a lovely Christmas. But I'll talk to you before then. But whatever.
Yeah, we'll talk on Facebook like tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. Rudy Giuliani is a shitbag. Yeah, it's fun.
Cheers everyone for watching, and we'll
Thank you
probably
very
see you
much.
next week. Cheers, Matt, for coming on.
Bye, 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 bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.